Welcome, one and all, to episode 64 of Peace Talk. I know you noticed I got I'm doing a lot more of this frequently with, but yeah, this cool series is a way for me to interview YouTube spiritualist personalities, but we got a special guest today. I have Daniel and Cristal of the Honey Whip tuning in. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? All right. This is a little bit different from what I usually feature. So I'm really excited about that. The Honey Whip is perhaps, but they're definitely taking creativity to a new place, let's just say. And for those of you who watch who are like musicians of your own or you're into this field, you definitely want to stay tuned because it's a nice story these guys. With y'all, where are you guys at right now?
Right now we're in Tennessee, like in Chattanooga area.
It's my first time in Tennessee, so it's really, really cool.
All right, and how long have you guys been in Tennessee? You guys just got there?
We've been here about,
I want to say 2 weeks because we took a week off recently to go to San Diego for some family events and stuff. But yeah, basically 2 weeks.
For sure. Okay, San Diego. I hate to spoil it. I saw your IG. It was for your sister's marriage, right?
yeah, she got married.
That's what's up. That's cool.
It was like on a boat.
Is she your younger sister or your older?
She's younger than me. Yeah, for sure.
Word.
It's like, well, I have a bunch of brothers, but she's my only sister, and she's like 5 years younger than me.
Oh, word. And one of your brothers is rolling with you in Hollywood too, right?
Yeah, Hiram. He's not with us right now at the moment, but he's been on the trip so far. He's helping us with the video and stuff.
He's a video ninja.
So, I'm gonna backtrack here. I'm pretty familiar with that. You guys, I've met both Daniel and Cristal in El Paso, Texas. The last time I really caught up with you guys, ironically, I did an interview with Urban Renaissance. So it's nice to catch y'all again on the whole interview too. But yeah, one thing from my personal experience that I really like about y'all is the hands-onness that you take to, making it not even just in the music industry, but just being creative, you know what I mean? But for these people watching now, what is the Honey Whip? How can you describe what
the Honey Whip? Basically, it's like the name of our trip right now, and it's specifically the name of our RV.
It's like the name of our journey.
Yeah.
At the moment, because we have full intentions of our journey evolving, and all we know at the moment is that the Honey Whip is going to be the catalyst to launch us forward in our journey and make sure we become the creatives that we really want to be, and that it helps us build the foundation in order to be financially stable and to make a life out of creating every single day, where we wake up and our job is to create, and that's helping us financially, which is helping us be more motivated to do it, and just becoming the people that we really want to be.
Yeah, so basically it was originally the name of the RV that we called it the Honey Whip.
Yeah.
And then when we decided to live on the RV full time, we made the studio, we were going to work on music, and then we decided we were going to tour around the country, and we wanted to make a vlog to document the whole thing. So now the vlog is called the Honey Whip. So basically everything that we're working around right now is around the name the Honey Whip.
Yeah, it's like the creative hub that we work around now. It just like encompasses everything that we're doing. It's music, it's videography, it's photography, modeling, and features, collaborations, things like that. Our journey, our traveling, even like as far as like trying out foods from the city, you know what I mean? Like reviews, stuff like that. It's just everything. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but to keep it simple, it's the name of the RV.
Yeah.
That's what I love about what y'all do, and it's so inspiring, and it really does feel like we're there with you too. Like you're out doing the damn thing, and that travel element is just really cool. You know what I mean? So this is still relatively new, right? You're in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
it's been a couple months since we started, but we ran into a bunch of situations that held us back as far as the vlog goes. We've still been shooting a lot. We've still been doing a lot of work, a lot of collaboration, a lot of music that we've been working on. But actually today I'm finishing the first episode. So real soon, I'm thinking here in the next couple of days, we're probably going to release the first episode. In this one in particular, you're gonna get to see our preparations to leave Vegas. This was us in Vegas getting ready to leave,
Yeah.
and you went to our house in Vegas, so I mean you know how it was over there, and we had to get out of the house. We sold all of our stuff. We moved out, put our stuff.
Moved out. All right, word.
Yeah.
My bad for interrupting, but yeah, that's kind of. I did see that crib too, so it's weird. I don't know why I have like an attachment there. Like, oh no, the house is gone.
I know, man. Like that house is so dope. It's so funny. Like we came up on it like unexpectedly, like how we moved into it, and then I just fell in love with it because the main room, like the what do you call it, like the main master bedroom, we decided to turn that into our studio, and it was just like my space, like my creative space. And that was the hardest part, like leaving the house, was just taking down all the art that I had put up, like taking down the lights. It was kind of like breaking my heart a little bit, but then we started building the studio inside the Honey Whip, and it was kind of like, okay, you're letting go of one thing in order to reach out and like have something else, something better, something that can help you evolve. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And actually, just to get people a bit more familiar, what was your journey like in El Paso and in Vegas? Could you guys kind of like give us a chronology on everything that's happened before you went to the Honey?
It's a little different for both of us, so I'll let Crystal go first and get her perspective on that.
Going to Vegas. Well, the reason I went to Vegas was because I was living in El Paso. I'm from El Paso, and I really just wanted to be an artist full time. Like when I was in El Paso, I was working at a hair salon. You know what I mean? I was doing that, and Daniel was out in San Diego, I believe, doing his thing. And we were just like started to talk about this manager artist collaboration that we wanted to do. And then I was like, yo, let's move together and let's really make this happen. Like, let's do what we have to do in order to make it work. So then we decided, okay, he knew people, he had connections in Vegas. He's like, let's move to Vegas so that way we can start working together. So moving to Vegas was just like my first like leap into my artistry, like for real. And then I really took the time to grow over there. Being away from like home helped me like stay away from my distractions. Like when you're home, you want to be with your friends and your family, and all the cool spots to hit up when you want to have fun. But when you move away, it's you start having to like really consider what you're doing. Like, maybe I'm gonna just stay home now because I really don't have any much connections out there that are going to distract me and take me away from my work. I took the time to like start self-teaching myself some things. Like I started teaching myself like music theory because before I moved out there, I didn't know like music theory, and I didn't know like how to create my own music. I only knew how to rap, and moving out there really gave me the time to learn what I wanted to. And so yeah, being out there, that was really cool. And then when we started talking about moving in an RV, and it was just like the next step into our journey, like the most logical things that we had to do in order to make sure that we were taking ourselves forward in our journey.
That's awesome.
How Daniel feels.
Yeah, I was living in Tijuana. I do video production, so I can work from anywhere. And me and my brother decided to move to TJ, and we did. So we were out there, but I've always worked with El Paso artists, and I just kept going back and forth. And at this point in time, I'm working with KP like the most, and we have a bunch of projects going on. So it just seemed right to jump into it full time. I told her, hey, let's go to Vegas, because meet somewhere in the middle. I wasn't gonna tell her to move to TJ, and then I wasn't gonna move back to El Paso because I have too much work in the West Coast. So we kind of just picked Vegas. We went back to Vegas, and then that's where we decided to start working.
Word. Okay. And yeah, you've been like working on video and photography for a while now, right? Like how long totally? I would say over 5 years or 10 years.
Probably like 10 years, because when I first started getting into music, when I was like 16, 17, 18, around those years, there was no like photographers at our like you can just hit up on Instagram and tell them to take photos of you, you know what I mean? And cameras were expensive and stuff. So when we were trying to put our music out there, we had to do it ourselves as far as the photography. So we started taking our own photos. That's when I started messing with cameras and stuff. I started messing with Photoshop for graphic design. And then eventually the DSLRs came out like in 2007, 2008. And that's when we started jumping on cameras for video. And ever since then, we've been on that road, you know what I mean? And it's been a fun road. Shooting video has really taken me to a lot of places and provided me with a lot of opportunities. So I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm really admired about. You had the experience here for a while, and not just the experience, but more so like the whole quality of like being from a local place, but not really being chained to the town. And let me explain that. Like normally, most people only expect a local art. I don't want to call you a local artist, but people expect certain people from a town to just go, only up to a certain place. But I'd say consistently, you guys in your camp have really kind of pushed limits, kind of almost showed the way. Really, at least like have done projects that show, we got what it takes. We're willing to work hard. So, I mean, in that aspect, I'm grateful. Thanks for that inspiration. And, it's really cool to see, where the average local artist is going to complain about like, oh, I'm not getting enough attention, or, they're not playing my music videos. You guys are the ones producing the cool videos. And once again, like, I don't know anyone else from, I don't even want to say just El Paso, but like, really doing what you're doing. So that's really cool and refreshing. Not to say that there aren't other people going on RVs or touring, but yeah, this is really exciting. Me and Love in the live chat too. They think you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much.
I see somebody saying that RV life is hard.
Oh, it is.
You know what? Yeah.
That's something that we want everyone to know, that it is not easy. Like every single day you are presented with challenges that either you are, oh, okay, let me go through this again, or like, wow, what are we going to do in this situation? Like you're constantly going through things. It's tough. It's not easy. You're constantly running out of water. You're constantly having to dump your water out. You're constantly having to deal with like lots of things that when you're comfortable in a house, like you're not considering, you know what I mean, being through it. So it's hard. It's not easy.
It's fun though.
But it's fun. I mean, I wouldn't want to be living anywhere else at the moment. Like I don't want to be doing anything else. Like this is exactly where I feel like I belong, or we belong for sure.
a nice age for it too. I'll say that.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I, I really like how you said you were studying music theory, which
Yeah.
I never really thought about that. Even that you were just rapping, because when I had heard your first album, Starstruck, one thing that I felt was really cool is like the songs with you rapping were cool, but like the my favorite tracks were the ones that were less rap and more like actual songs that you made. And
Yeah.
was able
And
to.
those, it's funny because those were the ones that were the most fun to make. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to rap, I feel like I have to apply more of that skill, and it's less. It's more about like, you know, structure and all of that. But when I'm just like singing or creating on the other side of stuff, I feel like I can just like wiggle more, and I can, like, you know, kind of experiment more. Definitely I learned that when I was in Vegas, just learning how to create music, because now I can produce my actual music, like the actual beat. I couldn't do that before, and now I can, which is really fun. So I just love the fact that I can do that now.
You can make beats. That's what you just
Yeah,
said.
I can make beats now.
Damn, that's what's up.
I actually just dropped a song on my SoundCloud. It's called June 25th. And it was the very first song that I produced. Daniel helped me a lot. Like, he did help me a lot. He guided me, and he actually jumped in there to kind of like restructure certain things that needed some help. But basically, that was the first production that I did. And I'm really, really, really proud of it. Like, it came out really cool, and it's just been fun. Like, that's one thing that I'm making sure is that music. I want music to just be fun, because I know a lot of people that make music, it's like stressful, or it's like a chore, or, you know, it's just like a drag, and I can see how it can be that way, but I don't want to feel that way about music, because I want this to be my life for sure.
You said it was on your SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, yeah.
Crystal Poppin.
Crystal Poppin on SoundCloud. That's where I'm doing this. I'm going to be dropping most of my music on there. Gonna be putting it up on like Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that as well. But I mean, yeah, SoundCloud would be where you can see everything that I'm doing now.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm putting a link right now to the video, just in case anyone wants to check it out. And we'll definitely talk more about future projects you have. But yeah, just to get a bit more of a recap, where's everywhere you've traveled so far in the short time you birthed the Honeywood?
We started in Vegas, and we went down through Phoenix. We went to El Paso. We were in El Paso for a little while, and I mean, obviously, we're from there. Our families are there, so we had a lot of things to do there. We worked with a lot of people, and just to kind of prepare us, we were still adjusting to the RV life. So even though we were living full time in the RV, being in El Paso really helped us out to like work a couple details and a couple problems out. And then once we were there for a couple months, we headed out to Dallas. We were in Dallas for a while, and then we went to New Orleans, and then we worked our way up here to Tennessee, where we're probably going to be here for about a month in total. I mean, we've been here 2 weeks almost, so we might be here another 2 weeks, because we are getting caught up with the vlog. We've been shooting for the past couple months, and we haven't had the chance to edit and put that out. So we're hoping to do that here. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay. And
after this, we're going to go to Atlanta. We're going to be in Atlanta for a little while.
Is Skritzy still out there, or he's back up?
No, Skritzy is in El Paso right now. He's traveling all over the place all the time, but and we actually in El Paso, but he's not with us.
Cool. Okay. So, and for those who aren't aware, Skritzy is a music producer, also from El Paso. Really dope beats, really dope artist. So, there's several ways I want to take this, but just to touch more on really what got you here, what were some challenges you had to face getting here? I mean, of course, first as an artist, and also, I know you mentioned like maintaining the RV, but you know, getting the motivation to really put out music, you know, live this path. What are some challenges you've had to face? You know, being an artist and then even, you know, deciding to do the RV.
Well, I mean, for on my side of things, I feel like it was kind of easy to jump into the RV life and be able to work remotely, but I also have to realize that I've kind of been preparing for this for the past 10 years. Ever since I started picking up the camera and Photoshop, I started becoming a graphic designer professionally and a video editor professionally, which has now, through time and experience, has allowed me to work, you know, from home basically. And when we moved to Vegas, I actually I got like a full-time job for a marketing company in Vegas, and I worked because I had to work full-time to save up, because I had already decided that we were going to do this, you know, get an RV and travel around the country to work on music full-time. As an artist, as an up-and-coming artist, the dream is to be able to work on your music full-time, and it's almost never possible because you have to work to maintain yourself. If you have a family, you have to work to maintain your family. You know, everybody has their obligations, their financial obligations, and it's almost impossible to jump into music full-time because music doesn't make money initially. You know, you got to really get lucky and work really hard until you get yourself to that position, and hopefully get the financial support to be able to live full-time off of music. But I kind of our plan was, you know, work full-time, work really hard for a year and a half.
It was like 2 years.
Yeah, it was like 2 years. So we worked really hard for 2 years, and we saved up. I don't even want to say saved up, because everything we saved, we spent it on the RV.
Yeah.
So, but now we're out here
for the RV.
Yeah. So now we're out here working to maintain, but at least, you know, we're out here, and it's great. It's what we wanted to do.
We basically been planning to be in this position, this very position, for 2 years. You know what I mean? This wasn't just like, oh, let's buy an RV, boom, got an RV, boom, let's travel. Like, it didn't happen like that. This was 2 years of like not overspending, not buying stuff we didn't need, really like buckling down on like saving our pennies, you know what I mean? Like eating at home a lot, you know, things like that. I haven't bought new clothes in like the longest time. A lot of the clothes that we have is actually like our homies that send us stuff that we get to wear, so, which is really cool. But I mean, it was a lot of sacrifice. These past 2 years have been, you know, super hard, and I really do feel that that's the only reason that we are able to do music and create every single day now, because of the past 2 years.
Which once again is really awesome. You know what I mean? Like at Under the Mystic Moon said, at least you're doing it, and it just makes less of an excuse. You know what I mean? Like, no one can say, oh, I don't have the resources to do what I want to do. Like, you guys didn't have any handouts. Nobody's giving you guys an advance, but you guys are working hard for what you have. And once again, that's just super awesome. Someone mentioned not to mention the changes in the music business. So how do the changes in the music industry kind of add a challenge or also opportunity?
Well, the biggest change in the music industry is the internet by far, and only that in itself has changed everything. So the internet has made it a lot easier for artists in some ways, and then it has made it impossible in other ways, you know. So it's really interesting, the changes, and artists have to adapt really fast. For example, now you don't need a label to reach an audience. Before, if you didn't have a label, you weren't going anywhere outside of your city or even outside of your neighborhood, you know what I mean? But now, because of the internet, you don't need $1 million to promote yourself to other cities and to the rest of the world. You can just go online, put your stuff on YouTube or on SoundCloud, you know, streaming services. And if your music is good, it's one of the things that I kind of like about the internet now, is that since everybody has the choice of what to listen to, if your music is good, it's gonna spread out for free. You know what I mean? Like it's called virality. Like when you go viral, it's because people are interested in you or your product. And I feel like now for artists, it's a lot easier to reach big crowds, but also you have to be good. You have to be better, and you have to stand out. And then that's when you're gonna reach your fan base, and they're gonna love you.
I wanted this question you asked. I don't know where this echo came from there, but I'm gonna ask now. So someone wants to know, how can listeners and fans support you while you're on the road? Do you have a Patreon account? Okay.
Yes, we do. We do have a Patreon that we haven't really.
We just
set it up.
We found out about it not too long ago, because we were just like, what can we do now? Because we're not really in the position yet to sell merch, because merch also takes capital in order to launch that. That is coming. That is on the way. But right now we were just like, well, how can we get that connection? And Patreon for sure is cool. We just set it up. We're under the Honey Whip. So if you guys want to look us up, we got a Patreon.
Yeah, and to the viewers here, you can go to YouTube and look up the Honey Whip, or Welcome to the Honey Whip, and you're gonna see our intro video and get a little bit more detail as to what we're doing. And then, by the way, Mike, your listeners are they're great. I'm looking through all the comments, and they're just really supportive and positive. So I like shout out to all the viewers here on the Peace Leaders channel.
They're awesome. I'm really grateful, and that's what I was also going to say too. They're really, and me myself included, we're all really inspired by what you're doing, because it's one thing to have the idea, to actually do it is a whole other thing. So yeah, thank you once again for joining. This is really cool.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, this is really cool.
So, once again, like, I'm gonna bring up Starstruck again, because I feel like, and for those who are not familiar, Starstruck is Crystal's first album that she released, and there was a really nice. There were a couple of joints on there where you kind of opened up more about your spirituality and your philosophy. Bringing that into focus. How has that evolved for you? And before you do that was a cancer, y'all. You guys wanted to know their straws, but yeah, how and you too, Daniel. How would you say your philosophy on life has kind of like changed over the past 10 years?
Well, a lot of what I learned when I did Starstruck was that what I brought to the table was such a smaller piece of the pie than I wanted it to be. Before I made Starstruck, I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was like, I know exactly what I want my sound to be, blah, 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 blah. I know exactly who I am. And then I started on the project, and I was like, I couldn't communicate to the producers what I wanted to hear. And that was a big red flag for me, because I was like, how am I going to be the musician that I want to be if I can't even tell someone how I want something to sound? So that's something that I learned. Another thing that I learned is that to make a whole entire production like that, a whole album, to launch it, the marketing is so expensive. Like, it was crazy expensive to do it the way that we did it, which is a good thing, because it's something that we learned as well. It was one of the hardest things I had ever done, but it was kind of like my music college, you know what I mean? I didn't go to school for anything music related. So it was like my boot camp, like my music boot camp. And I really appreciate everything I went through that. So after the album launched and after we promoted it and did shows and did the whole shebang, I was like, you know what? I need to learn music. I need to know what I'm doing because I want this to be my future. I want to be a part of this for the rest of my life. I need to know what I'm doing. And then that's when I took my step back, and that's when I really started learning what I wanted to learn. And I really do feel that now I'm in a position to where I can work on another project, and it can be an evolution off of something I'm already giving my fans. I love the fact that Starstruck gave me the opportunity to open up to people about a little bit about who I was, things I felt. People kind of think that because I rap, like I'm just like all this like this hardcore person that, like, you know what I mean, that I'm almost like harsh, I guess. But in reality, I'm kind of sensitive. You know what I mean? I am a Cancer, so I am very sensitive, and it took a long time for me to get over that and kind of like be more confident and present myself in the way that I want it to be presented. You know what I mean? I kind of let people push me around before, you know what I mean? Things like that. Like, I feel like I stand up for myself way more now, and I feel like it shows through my art now as well. So music is way more fun now that I know what's going on. You know what I mean? But yeah, like Starstruck was amazing. Like, it was a blessing in my life for sure, and I wouldn't be who I am today without it.
Oh, that's deep. Atomic Comet is still a banger.
Oh yeah, that one is crazy because Atomic Comet was like the first song that when I took that like direction shift, because everything I was doing before that, I was just like like rapping fast, you know what I mean? And I was just being hardcore and just being like, you know what I mean, F this and F that, and Atomic Comet was the first time that I kind of showed people like, hey, like I got this sensitive side, and I it's colorful, and I want to share it with everybody. Yeah.
And D, I kind of heard you were embracing more of this minimalist philosophy. Could you expand more on that?
On the minimalist?
Yeah, if that's something you're doing, or it's just like an idea.
Well, when you're living in when you're living full time in an RV, you kind of don't have a choice. You have to get rid of most of your stuff. You have to do with the bare minimum, which is, you know, what minimalism is. So basically, I want to say I kind of always been on that wave because I move around a lot. And due to the fact that I moved around a lot, I lose a lot of things. So I don't keep a lot of things like in general. All I have, I mean, at any point in time, I can grab all my clothes, throw them in a bag, get my laptop, and I can dip. You know what I mean? Right now, like as far as studio equipment, that's really the only thing that I've carried around as far as materials when I move. And then I also, you know, I had a lot of studio equipment at one point, and I also sold all of it, and I got rid of all of it. And now I kind of wanted to focus on having a production studio, embracing all of the latest technology, which is basically your laptop. You know, you can do everything on your laptop. All you need is a microphone and a good, you know, like an interface. So basically, our setup is just the laptop and an interface and the mic, and you got to be able to take advantage of that because you don't need all this expensive equipment or all this equipment to be able to do quality music anymore. You can just use the bare minimum, and that's what we're doing here in the RV. I have my studio, and it's something that now is, I mean, I can imagine for a lot of people moving into an RV would be pretty hard, pretty disastrous, you know, and very like emotionally distressing. But for me personally, it's been very easy. It's just, you know, it's been a smooth transition, and I really enjoy it. I love it. It's fun. You know, it's kind of like when you're a kid and you have a tree house.
Yeah.
The RV is my tree house, and I hang out in my treehouse all day, every day. You know, it's really how I feel.
It's like a clubhouse.
Travel in it too.
Yeah.
We travel.
It goes
you know?
everywhere. Like our front yard is always different. You know what I mean? It's really crazy.
When I saw that pilot episode and like you guys were recording in the RV, it's like you could feel that excitement. Which is awesome.
You know what? I just saw Soulless Miss say, please eat healthy so you can last. And I have to say that has been the most difficult thing for us
Oh yeah.
is eating.
Eating.
Like it's
Just
always
eating in general,
an issue.
honestly. Like when it's time to eat, it's because like we go so hard on our work. Like I'm in the studio doing music. Daniel's working on his laptop, cutting the vlog up, and we're just like, bro, it's like 3 o'clock. We haven't eaten anything, and I'm just like, man, like grab the cereal. Like we gotta hydrate. You know, it's really tough, and it's really bad. But yes, we do need to eat healthier. We need to eat, period.
Yeah, we just need to
need
eat.
to eat.
It's always an issue. And then for me, sometimes it's so easy to just go eat something. Like, oh, let's just go to Subway or let's just go to Wingstop. But if it doesn't hit you financially, it's gonna hit you just in like the healthy aspect. You can't be eating out every day. Eventually, it catches up to you, and you just feel like trash. But like some of the commenters here are saying, like when you get into the workflow, you just forget about eating, or you don't want to eat. You don't want to take the time to eat. So we go to a lot of sandwiches, a lot of cereal, a lot of quick stuff, hot dogs. But we have been trying to eat healthier. It's been an ongoing discussion here.
And we do have a fridge, so it's not like we can't get groceries. We have a fridge. We have water. It's just it's something we got to work on, honestly.
Just really quickly, somebody asked what we used to edit. I'm using now Final Cut Pro. I used to use Premiere, but I just recently, like this month, changed over to Final Cut Pro, and I like it a lot. I don't think I'm gonna go back to Premiere.
Yeah, Premiere is cool, but Premiere takes so much power. You also need an account to be on it. If you're not like doing like really high production, like you got a team doing your videos and y'all have to be in sync. If you're not doing that, Final Cut for sure. Final Cut's like the way to go.
If you have a Mac, my Final Cut is only for Mac, but if you have a Mac and you use Final Cut, it's the best thing to do.
Final Cut. Okay, so that makes sweet.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a lot.
It's a lot, man.
And we shoot with a A7S, a Sony, and we also have we shoot a lot with our backup camera, which is an A6500. And then we also shoot with our phones. We got the iPhones, and when we have to, we bust out our phones, and we shoot. Whatever's in our hand, that's what we do.
Someone's saying to eat vitamins, do protein shakes. We have talked about that, so I think we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
I think that would be the easiest thing, right?
The protein shakes is really attractive for me because it's easy and it's fast, and I want to believe that I'm putting quality content in my body. I don't know for sure, but if it says high calories and high proteins and hopefully some vitamins, it's attractive to me. I haven't committed to any protein shake yet, but I'm gonna start looking. Hopefully
I would rather do protein shakes than worry about like cooking or something. So for sure. And then someone's saying, what music program we use? We work on Ableton Live. But in reality, I think that it doesn't matter what you're creating on, because you can really, like, I know there's very successful producers and they're still using like Fruity Loops, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter, but that's just what we decided to use, and that's what we've become really, really skilled in, is Ableton Live.
Yeah, so we're still adjusting, we're still learning. As far as the RV life goes, I'm really excited to hit the East Coast because I've never been to the East Coast, and I don't know anybody on the East Coast. So that's when you really have to go 100% with like with your knowledge. You know what I mean? Because you can't rely on other people around you to come save you if something were to go down. So for me, that's the real journey. Like the real adventure is when we're out there, we don't know anybody, we're living full time in the RV, and we're, you know, we have to get to know people, meet new people, we work, we are going to be putting music out there, we're going to be shooting, visiting cool places, and sharing all that with you know, with our YouTube community, with our viewers, and hopefully they enjoy that.
Y'all are gonna love the East Coast. You're gonna hate the cold weather, but y'all gonna love the East Coast. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, I think we'll be out of the East Coast though once the cold weather starts rolling in. That's our plan at least. But we don't know. Anything can happen. That's another cool part about the Honey Whip is that we're prepared for being unprepared, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? It's like any opportunity that arises, any issues that arise, like we're ready to tackle them. We don't know what's going to happen or what's coming our way. We have a general blueprint, but we're ready for anything.
All right, Christine, we're going to hit you up in Bronx.
Ooh.
You said
it. Someone wanted, next time you go to Austin, New Timeline Who Dis was saying you could join them for a jam session too.
Yeah, I saw that, and that would be great. I've been to Austin maybe like 2 or 3 times, and I love it there. There's such a huge community, especially for us being from El Paso. It's kind of like a second home to El Paso, along with like San Antonio. Those 2 cities are just kind of like, you know, there's so many people from El Paso. Every time I go there, like I can talk to 3 people, and one of them will be from El Paso. So I really enjoy going to those cities.
And I know 2 of my best music videos I've ever done. One of them was made from you. I'll Never Be Famous is what it was called. Still fuck with that one. But I'm really.
I remember you guys doing that. That was funny. I think I walked into the room. You guys had redecorated the living room, and you were wearing like a. Were you wearing something on your head? I mean, you looked crazy.
I was reading the crystal ball and all that. It was really cool. I'm kind of starstruck now because I think we can see it outside looking in. It's like we're seeing a group or collective before they like really make it. Like before y'all reach the fame. It's like, yeah, we got to talk to y'all, interview y'all before that. But it's really, once again, inspiring to see the ascent and whatnot. But once again, like, just to ask this question in a different way, and this is more for people who might just be getting into music. I now see people are taking notes, thankfully, but which is awesome. But you know, how do you deal with the non-believers and the haters, especially in a town like? I don't want to single out El Paso because like there's a lot of towns that are like El Paso or just any local place, right? But how do you deal with that? How have you dealt with that too?
Well, in the past, when I was more around people I knew, it was harder because you would hear it more, and it was hard to like kind of hear that criticism. But then removing myself from it and kind of like analyzing the reason that people hate, I feel differently about it now because I realize that people only spread hate when they feel someone is doing something that they believe that they cannot do. That's really the stem of it. And when I realized this, that's when it stopped hurting. And that's when I was just like, you're hurting, not me. And I'm not going to let you hurt me. So that's just personally how I have overcome that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the first people that you're going to get criticism and hate from are the people that are closest to you. And therefore, it's going to hurt more initially at the beginning. But once you get past that, I mean, if you keep diligent and you keep working hard, your fan base will expand, your presence, your career, and your reach is going to expand, and then you're going to get more hate, you know. But that'll be from people that you don't know, and then you're gonna practice the like you're gonna practice
like the hate block.
Like the hate block. You're not gonna after a while. After a while, it's whatever. And then
you just need to know who you are.
Exactly.
And as long as you know who you are and you're grounded in who you are and you believe in yourself 100%, then hate is non-existent. Really, exactly. It's just it's kind of sad after a while for them. And
you get used to it, and eventually it's whatever. You know what I mean? Because like the reality is that most people will hate because they're seeing you succeed in an area that they didn't succeed, or you're doing something that they would have liked to do and they didn't. So it's more like hate is always envious for the most part. I mean, and that's just something that you have to know and be strong about, and just look forward. And you can't entertain it too much, because when you entertain the hate, it can be very damaging to your soul and to your energy. So you always have to make sure that you focus on the supporters, which is something where like that's probably been my flaw, is that like if I get 10 good comments or even 50 good comments and I get one negative comment, I feel like I need to address that one negative comment, but I feel like that's not the thing to do. The thing to do is disregard that negative comment, and focus on the love. Always focus on the love.
It's easier to hate than to love. People don't realize that either. Is that to even just give a compliment, it takes so much more for someone to do that than for someone just to type out something hateful. So appreciate people. I definitely try to appreciate those who show me love, because I know it's something that we should be spreading way more than hate. And addressing hate is only you attaching yourself to that person and that negativity, and you shouldn't be inviting that into your soul at all. So that's just how I do.
And then also you have to realize the type of people that hate. Like the people that hate the most or that have negative things to say are lower quality people. So you always have to keep in mind that if you're getting hate or you're getting a lot of negative attacks on you as a persona or on your craft, you're probably dealing with a lot of low quality people. You need to remove yourself from that situation, or just, don't pay attention to that and keep going, because you don't want to, drown yourself in all these attacks from low quality people, because you got to be better than that. You got to be above that and keep looking forward, generally.
True that. And like you said, hurt people hurt other people. I remember when we did the first interview like a couple of years ago, one of the realest things that I heard you say was in this industry, talent isn't enough. Like people will have talent, but they think that that's all they need. Like, you also need to be able to produce, to manage. Could you expand on that again?
I started working on music really early in my life. I've always been around music and musicians. I do have to acknowledge that that's an advantage. Sometimes I look at other people that have advantages, and I kind of get frustrated because I see that they had an advantage that I didn't have. But then I also have to realize that I had some advantages as well, and that's I grew up around musicians, and I grew up around successful musicians that I was able to see firsthand that it works. It's not like, it wasn't like financial success, like richness or whatever, but I was able to see that you can work hard on your craft, on your music, and you can live a very, healthy and, successful lifestyle. And that's always been motivation for me. And I don't know if other people have that, in the sense that they might give up because they really believe it's not possible. I don't have that option because I know it's possible. I've seen it. I've seen people go from rags to riches firsthand in people in my life. And therefore, I can never say it's impossible. And that's just one of the advantages that I have, is that I can't give up because I know that it's possible. And I started producing at a young age. I picked up Pro Tools. I went to audio engineering school. I wanted to be a producer. I didn't know a lot of artists or rappers at the time, so I started rapping myself. It wasn't nothing serious, but it was just because I was so committed to producing that I did whatever I had to do. Eventually, it led me to doing, the photography and videos and even websites and stuff like that. But always, like, music has been at the core of it. And it's just really been a lot of years of experience and networking. That's the other issue that I feel brings a lot of local artists down, is that they really feel like they're going to work in their bedroom, they're going to make a song and it's going to blow up, and they're really dismissing all the networking that goes into the industry. You gotta make yourself seen. You gotta make yourself look like a positive and influential energy. You know what I mean? Or if you're not a positive energy, people are not going to be attracted to you, and if they're not attracted to you, then they're not going to be attracted to your music. It's really all about attraction and about energy that brings people towards you, and that has a lot to do with just hanging out with your friends, looking happy, going out, having a good time. Obviously, you got to work hard, but you also got to have that positive energy. It's really important. You can't ignore that.
True that. True that. And
and especially with again with the internet, there's so many. You're gonna realize that there's so many talented people, as well as you, how much you feel you're talented, but maybe they're gonna work harder than you're willing to work, and so they're gonna be getting further than you are gonna get if you're not working as hard. So it's like talent and hard work. That's really what equals your success.
Facts. Totally agree. Yeah, I think you guys basically hit all those points. Now let's segue to the 3 questions game, which is pretty simple. So we're gonna take turns asking each other questions about anything. I'll ask you one first, and then both of you can come up with a question. So it could be like one each, but you can both answer the question I ask. We'll just go 3 rounds, back and forth.
Okay.
So actually, you guys could go.
Okay, you want us to ask you a question? Okay. Peace dealer.
I have a question for you. All right, so I feel like you found like somewhat of success and an audience in a area that I've been unfamiliar with my whole life. Well, to see you doing your thing like really makes me happy, and I want to know, is there a lot of people that do what you do, or if there is, what did you do to put yourself in this position? Because I really feel like you're in a position that's generally above like the common person trying to do what you do.
Appreciate it. That's a really great question. It's more relevant now that we're moving into the 2020s, because I'm noticing this is kind of a lot like music, where it's starting to get oversaturated. It's easy for people to kind of go on YouTube now and pull cards or talk to people about spirituality. So I think what's really helped me was being able to focus more on my personality and my character and bring life to the niche, instead of kind of like just use astrology or tarot as a tool. And I'm really glad you asked, because I didn't really get it at first myself. I was too focused on being kind of super produced and having everything be perfect, until I realized it really is just like the heart to hearts I connect with, the people who rock with me now on live videos and just going through that journey. But yeah, I would say bringing my personality through to this, and being willing to, make a fool out of myself and like do funny things that most others probably haven't touched. Honestly, I would say what really has helped me stand apart is just the willingness to also kind of act and open my heart, because once again, like it really helps you connect with who you're really, talking to and going out to. But yeah, it's important, because a field like this is getting pretty oversaturated, kind of like how everyone wants to be a musician and or a rapper, which I think is kind of cool because it gets everyone creating and coming out there. But another thing that's important is, a field like this, there's a lot of fortune tellers, there's a lot of scam artists, there's a lot of people who kind of use this to take advantage of people, because like anybody can just say, oh, I see this in your future, I see this in your chart, and it takes a strong mind to kind of point out fallacies and flaws in arguments. So thankfully, one thing that's really helped me stand above is I'm pretty legit. Like I don't scam people. I actually, know a lot of what I've researched and talked about. And, I bring a bit of my magic in this. And thankfully, the main part is my work has shown for itself. And they're very satisfied people who have personally experienced time with me. So yeah, I'm definitely grateful for that part of the journey.
One of the things that I really respect about you is that you're funny, and the fact that you are able to make fun of yourself. I really admire that in people, because I feel like we live in a world where everybody takes themselves too serious, and funny, like being funny has always been attractive, really attractive. Everybody loves to laugh. Everybody wants to laugh, and you really can't get hated on when you're making fun of yourself. So being a comedic person and being a funny personality is already a deterrent in itself of the negative vibes. And I really like that about you, because I myself feel like I'm more of a funny, goofy person. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed working with you for that reason, and I wanted to work with you for that reason, because you know how they always say there's the class clown, which to me that's always meant that in the classroom, in a whole classroom, there's one clown. You know what I mean? And that makes the funny person a rarity. And that's why I feel like you being a funny person, it makes you special, and it makes you stand out from the rest. So I always commend, and I always admire and encourage your comedic ways. So keep doing that. Keep being funny.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, man. A lot of people do like to be serious, and I mean, I appreciate that for real. I've kind of always been that class clown myself, and I kind of got over the whole, am I okay with being a clown? And yeah, I'm super okay with it. But still, yeah. And yeah, you totally do have that funny side, which is really awesome. I look forward to laughing more.
I'm about to cut off my live feed, I guess.
So my question for you is, who are your influences, even outside of music? Who inspired you, both of y'all?
My musical influences. I want to say that I listen to all genres of music, so I've been influenced by a lot of people. But I do want to say that one of the influences that literally slapped me in the face was Tupac. I discovered Tupac at a young age, and my parents didn't let me listen to rap because they thought it was bad music. I understand why, but I was walking down the street one day and I found a CD on the floor, and it was Tupac's greatest hits, and that literally changed my life. It was just especially particularly the song Changes. When I got to that song, it's just it was just it was different for me from that point on. And then the next artist that changed my life was Nelly, and then the next artist that changed my life after that was Kanye West. And so I would say Tupac, Nelly, Kanye West. As far as the mainstream hip hop general, but I mean I listen to so many people, and then from the not hip hop people, it's just too many to mention. But I listen to a lot of stuff, even country, and even Punjabi, Italian, Spanish. I listen to a lot of Spanish stuff, a lot of different Spanish.
You even listen to Punjabi? Damn.
Yeah, I love Punjabi.
Damn. That's really what's up.
Yeah.
All right.
And some of my musical influences, when I was really, really young, I remember being in 5th grade maybe, and the family had this Dell computer in the kitchen, and everyone would use it. And my aunts would download music from Napster, and they were just the computer was full of all this stolen music, and it was really cool because I would play on the computer. I would play these games, and I was I was like, oh, well, let me listen to their music that they play, because I really liked it when they played it themselves. So I started just playing the music by myself. And I really do feel that like a lot of that music has shaped me as a person and as like in my musical taste. Like, for instance, one of my favorite songs on there was Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. And that song like had like, it was the first song that really made me cry. And I was like a fifth grader, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really like feel like that emotional pull when you're younger. So that's why I really remember that song a lot. And in that computer, there was all kinds of stuff that I will pay my respects to, such as like Fleetwood Mac was in there. Kanye West's first album was in there. A lot of rock, a lot of like Maná. Maná is like a Spanish band, Spanish rock. And Maná is like, really, really awesome, just like appreciating their music kind of like band. I don't know, like Maná, shout out to Maná. All kinds of music was in there, like 90s music, Alanis Morissette, people like that. And then a lot of hip hop as well, like Jay-Z was in there. A lot of Tupac's music was in there. Stuff like that. Yeah. And then as I grew up, I started kind of like discovering music on my own. And then I got into like indie rock a lot, along with hip hop. Hip hop has always been a part of my musical like experience, for sure.
Someone said Grimes in there. We do like Grimes. We listen to Grimes.
Oh, Grimes is such an inspiration for me, because she produces as well. She does everything from start to finish. Like, she produces the music, she sings on it, she produces her vocals, like everything, and she does it all on the floor, which is really cool. Like, I can't wait till I meet Grimes one day.
On a laptop.
On a laptop,
yeah. She just does it all on the laptop.
Yeah. She's really cool. I love her. Just any female producer really that I can find that kind of like has like a vibe, like kind of does her own style. I love that. Female rappers that actually rap about stuff and not just like their body parts. I appreciate those people, like such as like IMDb. She's someone that I'm bumping all the time right now. Abra, she also produces a lot of her stuff. Abra's really cool. I don't know who else am I bumping these days. I also throw on other things that aren't hip hop. Like, one of my favorite artists right now is Yellow Days, and he just speaks to my soul. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm yellow. Like, I love yellow. Yes, my favorite color. He just brings out those emotions that whenever I want to be like inspired and to write about like maybe love or something like on that side of stuff, I'll listen to him. I like it's too much to mention, honestly. But. And
just recently, I know there's a lot of controversy around XXXTentacion, but we do appreciate his music. Like me personally, his latest album, like the music that I feel like he was headed into a direction that I was really looking forward to, and I feel like he was cut off a little short, but I do appreciate it.
On XXXTentacion. Okay. Like, it was maybe 2 years ago that I discovered him. He did an interview with No Jumper, and I had never heard a song of his like before. I saw his interview first, and just through his interview, like, he was like being crazy and stuff, but it's like I just saw his real, if that makes any sense. That's the best way I can describe it. I just saw his reel, and it struck me, and I was like, whoa, like, it's kind of rare with these younger rappers. So it intrigued me. So I looked into his SoundCloud, and I started listening to his music, and I was like really taken back by the fact that like every song that I listened to, whether he was screaming, whether he was singing, no matter what he was doing, every single song pulled, like, he's pulling an emotion. If he was screaming, he was pulling out anger to its most, like, its biggest amplitude. when he was singing about something sad, when he was singing about suicide, when he was singing about love, like you feel it 100%. You feel him, and that hasn't happened to me in a long time. Ever since back then, when I was listening to all that music in that Dell computer in my family's kitchen, like XXXTentacion was a true artist, and I really do think that it's so sad that he was taken so early, because I do feel that he was, because I also followed him on social media and everything. Granted, you don't see everything that people are on social media, but from what I could tell, especially following him for so long, he was evolving and he was turning a leaf, you know what I mean? He was becoming a better person. He was trying to spread positivity. He was trying to change. He was 20 years old, and a lot of people don't recognize that as well. But it's really sad that he didn't get to become the person that I felt I was watching him become. And yeah, I just kind of like, it sucks. He was someone that I really was inspired by. And if I can say that anyone inspired me really fully from this generation's music, it was definitely XXXTentacion.
We are going to check out all these artists that people are mentioning here in the comments. So we love discovering new artists. We're all about that, and we're going to check out all these people.
Oh yeah, for sure. As soon as I wake up, the first thing I do is play music. And if I can play music that I've never heard before every single day, I love that. So if you guys can just throw in what you're listening to, people you love, I would love to make a new playlist. I'm always on the hunt for music, because like, bottom line, the only reason I became a musician was because I loved music. I loved just listening to it. I wasn't even creating it, and I loved it. So yeah, shout out people you like.
All right, so now we're on. Shout out to Mojo Spade. Okay. That is the first round. Now we're on round 2.
Oh, nice. Oh, it's 6:25, like my birthday. I always screenshot when I catch 6:25 on my phone, by the way.
Oh yeah, KP has been on. She was a really big fan of Angel Hayes a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know where she's at right now. We haven't kept up with her lately, but we've definitely listened to Angel Hayes.
Oh yeah.
She's cool.
Angel Hayes. When I was starting to rap, that's when I started listening to her. I appreciate her skill and her intensity. Like she helped me come out of my shell, definitely, when she was doing her thing. So like Angel Hayes for sure.
Wait. That's what's up. All right, so now it's your turn to ask another question.
Okay. Let me see if I can come up with a question. Okay. Oh. What is your sign? I don't think I've ever asked you that. What is your sign? And can you tell me what, I don't know the proper way to ask this, but what do you feel your energy, your aura, what are you giving to the world? Like, what is, like, the point you were born, like, what does that mean for Earth? Huh?
That's such a good question. Only because I've recently kind of honed in on that. I thought I knew before, but I know more than ever. So I'm the official fuckboy of the Zodiac, Gemini. The twins. I like to say
Gemini. Your birthday just passed?
Yeah, June 11th. It's so hard being a Gemini now, because like we have to, a Gemini man at least, because now we have to kind of like excuse like, you know, Trump. Everyone's like, oh, Trump's a Gemini, Kai's a Gemini. So it's like, well, we have Prince too. And it is what it is. As far as what I'm here to give, I realize more and more it's just truth. It's just really, and that's why I really respect Kanye so much, because he reminds people like, you know, a platform like Twitter is about free conscious expression. This dude like pushes so much buttons just by speaking free thoughts, just by speaking his truth, you know what I mean? So I feel like I'm here to empower other people to speak not what they think is right, speak not what they think is perfect, but what they feel is true, which is why I love Cancer a lot, because that's all about sincerity. It's like the manifestation of truth is in sincere feelings, and even extending to Libra, where everything gets presentation and learning how to like show who you are and balance all these elements. But yeah, I feel like I'm here to express the truth, that not even just express the truth. One thing I love about being Gemini is we say things that everyone's already thinking to a degree, but some people may say. That's why we love Tupac so much, because he wasn't afraid to like speak that truth and to spit that raw. So I mean, I feel like once again, I'm here to give that, even in ways that make me feel vulnerable, even in ways that could kind of, you know, expose me, as long as I'm still being honest, as long as I'm still giving that, and where I want to take it. And that's why I'm really inspired by what you guys are doing too, because I definitely want to make that transition over the next couple of years, where I'm not just behind my computer screen. Now I'm doing meetups, and I'm there to really meet people in person more so, and kind of connect a lot more authentically that way too. So looking forward to that. And yeah, you know, I love being a mischievous Gemini. I've understood more why people love but hate the zodiac sign. We could be a bit childish, but it is what it is. My second question to you is, for those people who want to follow their passions and not go to college, what advice do you have for them? What is it like you living your dreams without having to traditionally, you know, spend money on
Did you say without going to college?
Yeah, college dropout like Kanye.
Yeah, I feel like the only people that need to go to college are doctors, lawyers, and engineers. You know, that's if you don't want to be a mechanic, I mean, an engineer, a lawyer, or a doctor, you can just do it on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just really like.
I think that depending on your passion, you don't have to go to college for it, but you definitely need to educate yourself in what you're doing. And I think maybe that's something that people don't realize. Like, being a musician, you need to educate yourself on not only the music side of stuff, theory, you know, how to compose a song correctly, but you also need to educate yourself on the business side of things, because if you want your passion to be your job, you need to know how to make money off of it correctly. Otherwise, you're really going to be a starving artist, literally, and not making money. Educate yourself. You can, with YouTube now, you can learn anything, really, you can. So I definitely think that's what you have to do.
The key is still to educate yourself. You just don't have to go and give somebody all your money and time to educate yourself.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So definitely education is definitely the way of everything and the key to everything. Just, you know, like the institutionalized programs, curriculums, and that kind of thing. Like, don't limit yourself. It's limiting. Like, in my opinion, school is limiting because it's putting barriers on people that shouldn't be there. Like, now in the present time, you can go on the internet and you can learn whatever you want to learn. And then once you have enough knowledge, then you go and you get an internship, or you find a way to get hands-on. And once you get hands-on, you know, you call that experience, and the experience always wins, like, no matter what.
True that, indeed. So, I mean, just more reasons education should be somewhat free. I mean, if they're doing it in other countries, at least
I feel like, yeah, as far as college or profession goes, I feel like college, they should give you more education on how to build and protect your credit. I feel like they should give you more education on financial stability, on investment, and on, you know, even just like how to be a better person. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that nobody teaches you.
Credit is so important. Credit is so important. people don't know about credit walking around. Like, you gotta know about credit for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, especially for creatives.
Yeah.
If you're talking about creatives, you definitely don't need school for that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a creative person or you're in the creative industry, it's all about your influences, experience, and your ability. That's all it is.
Nice. All right, and another great answer. All right, and now we have one more round.
Cool. You ask him something really good.
Oh, what are you up to lately? What are your plans? I haven't talked to you in a while.
What do you play?
Oh, great question. So, once again, well, I'm working with another astrologer in this field. His name's the Leo King, David. I've really just been producing my ass off, just kind of working on content. My next stage is to once again, I'm finally at a place where I can do meetups now. Like, I can do meetups every month in Vegas and slowly start to kind of tour myself, but I'm really just wanting to produce a lot more content for my channel and start making online courses so people can kind of learn the basics of astrology. So it's really just a lot of production and kind of gearing in and working harder than expected over the next 2 years. And then, you know, once 2020 hits, I'll have a bunch of production to speak for itself. And I feel like I can now take my portfolio and show the world and, you know, branch out more there. But I'm also looking forward to more collaborations too. So definitely excited about that. It's also, I mean, that's more on the serious side. I kind of just came up with a new series where I like recite rap songs in a colonial English voice. I didn't realize that was my true calling until like recently, so I'm just having fun with that one. But yeah. And my final question for you guys.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
What does 2020 mean for the future?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, so that's a really good question. So I feel like 2020 is gonna mark when humanity at a certain level has like adapted to certain structural changes, and we're going to see such amazing technological advancements augmenting reality. We're seeing the sneak peeks now, but there's going to be so much more detachment. I mean, I feel like some of the problems of the internet may get a little worse, but actually now we'll start to see some better sides of this. But really 2020 for me is kind of like the future we've been slowly segueing, where like everyone can make a living off of their app, you know what I mean, off of a phone, really having less excuses. And of course, I'm pretty sure we'll see the new Facebook or the next big thing between those 2 years to 2020. But I just get the feeling like it might be a bit more like George Orwell-y too, where we might have new problems, you know, like because so much stuff is online, you know, the whole notion between privacy might be a bit more of an issue. But I generally see it as like a new renaissance, to be honest, because now everyone who has been a creative has had like a good 5-10 years of practice experience to where now we can start to build our community and see like who's really the next new generation of who's really doing it, who's building a way to do more. So definitely, and then of course 2020 is going to be the elections, which will be so dramatic. I think that'll probably be one of the most dramatic election periods ever. and that's just gonna bring a whole nother kid in caboodle. So I'm looking forward to that drama. But other than yeah, but and that's just barely scratching the surface. That was such a good question though too, because 2020 is so pivotal. But
I feel that for sure.
Yeah. I was gonna ask this after the third question, and yeah, I'm gonna ask this as my third question. So, what do you have? No. My third question for you is what are both of your highlights? What are both of like two of the greatest things that you've ever like achieved so far on your journey?
You go first.
Greatest things that we've achieved was, to me personally, was just doing it. Like, so many people plan and they dream or wish of doing things, and they never do the work to actually do it. So to me, actually jumping into the RV and leaving Vegas was the biggest accomplishment for me. And anything that came after that, I wasn't scared of, because I had already did the most difficult thing, which was the first step. Now it's just, like rolling with the punches, and we I can't say we've run into a lot of problems. I did a lot of preparation and to make sure that I don't run into problems, mechanical problems and stuff like that. But I'm sure, we'll get flat tires, or something will break, or we'll have, unexpected problems. We have a couple leaks. Every time it rains, we're finding new leaks out here. That's kind of been a little challenge. The food thing has been the biggest challenge. And we also have our dogs. So just, staying up, like upkeeping,
On top of that,
staying on top with a dog situation. We got to walk him every morning, play with him, feed him. We forget to feed ourselves, and so we can't forget to feed the dog. It's not his fault, any of this. So yeah, but the dog, he's a big dog, and he's running around here, and so he'll be all right. But so far for me, the best things has been starting the journey, and now it's traveling, just seeing the new places, being out here close to the East Coast, seeing the trees, seeing all the green, seeing, all the unfamiliar architecture is one of the things that I really admire. Like, on the West Coast, you see the same stuff, same style, and then now you're out here in the East Coast, and you start to see different architecture, different types of buildings, different types of, civil engineering. And I really appreciate that stuff. I see a lot of different stuff out here, and that's one of the things that makes me the happiest, because I've always wanted to be a well-traveled person, and being out here is allowing me to do that. So that's been the best part for me.
And in my journey, the first highlight, as far just like as a creative, the first thing was the completion of my first album, Starstruck. That definitely was a highlight, because it was the first time that I had proved to myself what I was capable of with my art and my music. That was a big highlight. We put up a billboard. I did one of my biggest shows after that. I was holding like the physical copy in my hand, something I never thought was going to be possible. That is definitely like one of my huge accomplishments. And then another highlight in my journey was creating, like taking off, like actually leaving El Paso. Like after Vegas, we went to El Paso in the Honey Whip, but leaving El Paso in the Honey Whip, that was another thing that just like hit me in life, was just like, whoa, like you're out here, like you're doing it, like look what you've done, look how hard you've worked, like this is a moment. And it was really like happy to the point where I was tearing up, and I was just like, wow, like we're doing it, like that was definitely a big highlight for me. And I'm only expecting like more of that to come my way, our way, because I just feel like we're doing it right. We're trying our hardest. We're working our hardest. We did everything we could to prepare, and we're just going. We're doing it and I just want to be honest. I just want to put my honesty forth and my love. Like, I make sure that every single action, like whether I should recycle a bottle or put it in the trash, like every action I have, I try to do it with love, and I think that's definitely guiding me. So yeah, those are my
Man, that was solid right there. That was right. Nice. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Me and us in the live chat, we enjoyed you. The last thing I would like to know for everyone else is, how can people reach you? And for everyone watching, I have the links to their Patreon, their YouTube, and their SoundCloud. So make sure you guys follow them, support them on Patreon. It's totally worth it. I just myself became a patron, so looking forward to the journey. And how can people reach you and get to know you?
Well, you can follow The Honey Whip across the board. That's Instagram, that's YouTube, Twitter. What else is there? There's a Facebook. The Honey Whip anywhere. Another thing is, if you want to follow my personal page, it's Crystal Poppin, KRYSTALL, and then Poppin, POPPIN. That's my Instagram.
Hey, shout out Jacoby. What's up, my homie
Jacoby, what's up? And then D.
Just if you just go to The Honey Whip, we stay the most updated on Instagram. So if y'all can follow us on Instagram, that would be great. We would really appreciate that. And obviously our video content is gonna go up on YouTube. So
The Honey Whip YouTube.
We'll be putting that out eventually. But if you do go to our The Honey Whip Instagram, you can see our links there in the description. And our
Patreon is patreon.com/The Honey Whip as well.
Yeah, so we are getting ready to roll out a bunch of content. We've been a little quiet. We've been busy and dealing with a lot of personal stuff that has happened in the recent months, and weeks. But we're getting ready to put out a whole bunch of new stuff. So we're excited for that.
New song on the way. I just finished it. It's called Donuts and Blunts. What's up?
Oh.
And, it's really cool. I'm excited about it. You can check out my SoundCloud as well, soundcloud.com/Crystal Poppin, and that's where I'll be dropping my music as well. Anything that's fresh and anything that's new, current, that's where it's going to be for sure.
Sweet. Well, there you have it. That was once again a really dope episode. I'm super mellow right now. It's a new moon, so I'm not really as live, but I kind of prefer chill talks like this. But yeah, y'all stay tuned for another future episode, I think in another 2 days. And yeah, thank you guys once again. We wish you...
Whenever you want to talk again, just let us know. We'd be more than appreciative too. And then again, shout out to all your followers and your commenters.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the love. I'm gonna go back. I didn't get to read all the comments, but I'm gonna go through it, and I'm just like the few that I'm reading. It's so awesome. Thank you so much. And you guys are being watched on my Instagram as well. And this is the Peace Dealers YouTube with his side as well. Go to the Peace Dealer on YouTube. And yeah, check it out. Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys again for the engagement and for being positive. So hopefully we get to chit chat again soon.
Will do. All right, y'all. Peace out.